One of my clocks is fast and the other one looks like it's slow. Who knows what time it is? Oh, I might possibly be early because all my digital devices say one time and the clock says another. But I think it goes fast. It's like 4 minutes fast. Anyway, good morning. It's another lovely Wednesday morning in the fall in October. What day is it? October 26th. My name is Andrea. I'm coming to you live from the quilting shed outside of Fredericton, New Brunswick. And this morning, as I laid in bed, as my alarm went off, I thought, whose stupid idea was this? I mean, mine, but it was yeah, double strength tea today, folks. Oh. And before I go too far, I know people have been asking about the space car, and honestly, I got to tell you, I still love the car, but Ron came in the other day and he goes, "Look, we got to talk about this. Found something in the car." I'm like, "Oh no, what's wrong?" It's like somebody was in the car and there's chocolate on the driver's seat. Oh no, chocolate on the driver's seat. Now, I don't know what happened specifically. Maybe somebody broke in, rubbed a little chocolate on the driver's seat. Ron said it seemed like the chocolate mark on the driver's seat was right below where somebody would put their hands while having chocolate while they drove, and it just sort of dropped down and melted on the seat. I mean, sounds plausible. Could be anyone. Don't know. No idea what happened there. It shall forever remain a mystery. Slightly different setup today. I have a lot to show you, and while I was setting up, another round of boxes came. I ordered a ton of stuff last week, and the week before, so we've got a whole pile of stuff to go through while we figure out who dropped some chocolate in our brand new car. Anyway, I got a jelly roll here, and it's just dusty over everything. You just see the mess on the table. Okay, what's new? Lots of new stuff. I say in the title here that the new fabric came. It came yesterday. I was all prepared and ready for it. You can see it's on the new fabric shelf. This is the spot in the shop where the new fabrics come in. I try and get them here first. Let's nerd out about fabric because I spent way too much time last night reading Wikipedia. I mean, I normally spend a little bit of almost every day reading something on Wikipedia. I don't know about you, but if I see something interesting, I go read more about it. I don't go, wonder how that works. Guess we'll never know. I'm just like, let's go look that up on the Wikipedia. It gives me something to read while I'm eating my dinner or drinking my tea or downtime between customers or just, vegging out at night. Comments are not on screen. So can you see them now? I can see them on my screen. Can everybody else see the comments on the screen? Because I can. Anyway. See, that's me turning them off. That's me turning them on. Okay. On to the new fabric. So we have Wandle in from Free Spirit. And Wandle is the name of this fabric line that has come in from Free Spirit. Now, I'm super jazzed about it because it is all reproductions from the original Morris & Company design house or whatever. I think with the comments, it might depend on what platform you're watching it from. Probably. So William Morris was a designer in the late 1800s. I'm calling him a designer. He was more than that. He did a lot. So, but what the premise was is he was at the very start of the arts and crafts and the Arts Nouveau movement, which was right near the end of the Victorian age. And that stuff came about as a protest or counterculture against industrialization. So You got to remember, end of the 18th century was like never seen before. It was like the digital age is now, but back then, mechanical. So like you had cars, you had streets, you had the World Exhibition with all these technological advances. They just discovered germs and hand washing, for crying out loud, 60 years prior. 1840s is when the guy discovered, you know what? If I wash my hands between all these patients, these ones don't get sick and die. The guy on the other row, he didn't wash his hands, and all his patients are dying. This is weird. So yeah, lots of innovation with the industrial age and steam engines and horseless carriages, and it was just really, really amazing. And schools had started and stuff. So one of the responses to that was in all this industrial age, and I see it a bit happening in the digital age. All this mechanically produced goods, people got concerned about. I watch too many historical shows. There's a couple of hosts we watch, so I'm slipping into one of her accents of one of the ladies that we see. She explains a lot, and so it's like, oh God, we're now slipping into one of her accents. I know. So anyway, where was I? Got distracted. Sorry, I'm reading comments as I'm talking, and I'm going on to other things. So yeah, Art Nouveau was a response to and arts and crafts. It's like they wanted to get back to handcrafted things, to more organic things, like the premise, and tell me if this sounds familiar, is why should we pay for this cheap factory made item of furniture when we can honor the artisan and the materials and pay a little bit more for something that was handcrafted? Like, yeah. And this is how arts and crafts and Art Nouveau started. It's my favorite time in like art history, and I didn't even go to university for this. I just learned it because I think it's darn fun. So that's why in the arts and crafts and the Art Nouveau, you see a lot of really arts and crafts. You see that more in the architecture. It's really straight and solid. Some of the houses here in New Brunswick, if you look at some of the historical ones that are in like the late Victorian age, if you look at the less ornate ones, you can see some echoes of the arts and crafts movement. We lived in the house in the Miramichi. It was an American Foursquare, and the outside was an Italianate design. I know this because we got it on the historical register. But inside, in the port, in the front entryway, it was fully wood paneled, and there were all just nice straight lines, just delicate trims. Just really, sometimes you think it's really blocky, but it's just sort of plain and not ornate, and it's very arts and crafts. And then when you start moving into the ornate part, that's when you start getting into the Art Nouveau. So William Morris, he was super into this, really against the industrialization. At one point, Bill looked around London and said, I ain't letting my kids grow up in this smoky old city. Let's hightail it out to the country. One of the factories that he set up for his textile designs was by a river, because they were dyeing a lot of their own fabric. He wanted to really get back to nature with natural dyes and be right in the middle of that process of dyeing fabrics. And he was really into indigo dyes, which I'll talk about in a minute. So one of his factories was set next to a river, and that river was the River Wandle. The inspiration for the fabric line that we've got in today. I know. See, you talk to me, you're going to learn something, whether you want or not. Want to or not. And the best part of what I was learning last night is what William Morris experimented with. Now, normally in the process of dyeing, you just toss the fabric into a dye vat, and then you get into screen printing when you normally have this would be screen printed today, screen printed or digitally printed, either one, where they basically spray or press the inks onto the fabric as it goes by on a bunch of rollers. What William Morris did was similar to the way batiks are produced. He had these wooden blocks with these brass pieces of metal sticking out sideways. So it was the thin edge of the brass that they would sort of use as a rubber stamp, like you use rubber stamps, except it's not a rubber stamp, it's wooden and brass. They'd put the stamp in the die and then stamp it onto the fabric. Big long rows of it. And that's where you get the like repeating designs. They'd carefully line them up. One of the things he experimented with, which I thought was super cool, was he would dye the fabric the deep blue indigo first, and then use various saturations of bleach, basically, like from a stronger bleach to a weaker bleach, to discharge the dye from various places. More fuller strength, you would get the whites showing through, and the weaker strength would just fade out to a nice light blue. So that's why you see a lot of blues, because he started with the indigo and worked his way backwards essentially by bleaching out the bits he didn't want. Isn't that cool? This makes me want to play with dye. I was experimenting with batiks actually over the summer, except they needed to go get a bucket, and that's where I got stuck because I forgot, because that's how my brain works. Or I have some of the clearance batiks. I was trying to see what would happen if we took existing batiks and bleached all of them. What kind of color range would we get? How much of the dye can we get to discharge? So that was super cool. I will circle back to that one another time. But the William Morris, this really floats my boat. This is, my mom emailed me and said she wouldn't be by this morning, but later she's going to really love these blues and whites. It's that time frame. Arts and crafts and arts nouveau. This was also all the way up into the 1920s. So you start thinking of like the flapper girls and stuff. So you could really see how when you get from the handcrafted stuff into the more organic things, and see how that flows from architecture and interior designs down, it trickles down into like fashion. Because it did, because the ladies' fashions soon after that, you can just watch it in the timeline. You know, it's like 10 years or so after that, you can see the ladies' fashions gets less restrictive. They want to be outside in the air, you know, get the organic fresh air, and get into less restrictive garments, start showing off their ankles. Interestingly enough, around 1918, there was another pandemic. Guess what happened a few years after that? Short hairstyles. You know why? Because everybody was sick in bed, getting their hair all matted and stuff, and it was hard to take care of. And then short hairstyles came into play. Wow, super history lessons. So there's that. And this is that nice, you know, what did they call this one? See, I tell you, you get me started on stuff like this, I'm just like not going to shut up in this like 10 minutes of me talking about the history of the arts and crafts and arts nouveau movement. Whatever, just another day. This is the Brophy trellis. So what the the Morris and Company brand is doing now is they take some of his more classic designs that he's repeated everywhere. Originally, he did like wallpaper and tapestries and embroidery designs. And they're just recreating them in collections. And sometimes they'll do different colorways, because I've seen some other collections of theirs that they've done. I actually have a charm pack that's done in these blues, but they added burgundies and gold. And this one is the blues, and they went lighter with the creams and the coral. I know. So that's why from collection to collection, you'll see some of his same famous designs. They've just come up in a different colorway. So that's that nice trellis design. This one really floated my boat, because if you do look up some of his design, you will see the same leafy design of his. It's the large acanthus, and it's an extremely large print. I have a kit here I'm going to show you. They've used it for a border. It's an absolutely amazing showcase print, and look at them blues. Look at that detail too. I mean, this is originally from a block print. You know how many hours this would have taken them to like figure out this design and make it into a stamp by hand? Yeah. And you know, it's 100 years later, and we get to play around with it more and just yeah. And the fabric here, really, it's a really nice fabric. It's Free Spirit. It's 100% cotton. It's very high quality. Of course it is. And I didn't even tell you the price, because this is even more gobsmacking. It's $16 a meter. Mind blown. I know. I was expecting it to be like 20, but it's not. It's 16. Really. Here's another one of his prints. See how it's nice, and it's that very repeating design. You could easily see that in a wallpaper. Big lush wallpapers are also in right now, like on walls. Just like a what's the word I'm looking for? statement wall, like a statement wall. But this is also very, very quilt pattern, very nice repeating damask sort of design with the little elements. Hey, remember Tula Pink? She comes up with designs similar to this, but adds a little more elements and lots more color. Influences everywhere, I'm telling you. Right, and Heidi's talking in the comments about tie-dyeing. She tie-dyes a lot, so she knows exactly what I'm talking about in this in the dyeing stuff. But that's just the blue on the white background, and I know my mom's gonna go nuts for this one. But this is one of my favorite prints, and they really went all out in the collection. They've used all the colors in the collection for this with his famous print, The Strawberry Thief. This is very famous. If you just Google The Strawberry Thief, you will get oodles and oodles of stuff. If you're on Pinterest, this is just like everywhere. And he named this because, of course, like I said, he lived in the country, worked in the country, and there were thrushes in the bushes that liked to steal his strawberries. If you have grown berries, you know his frustration. I mean, see there? They're eating the strawberries right there. He used this a lot everywhere. And here is the same print, but this time it's scaled up and it's only in the blue, white, and cream. See? Same print, just scaled up. Now, can you imagine that in a quilt? I mean, just overall, it's just amazing. And I've shown you a lot of the blues, but there's also these lovely coral pinks. Like this is the pinkest one. I'm really liking that one. It's another one of his designs. This is Severn. And you know, this looks almost like a very traditional quilting print, just a little more upscale. Like you can see, if I didn't tell you this was William Morris, you'd be like, oh, that's nice. But you can also see when you look at this, how some of the more traditional quilting florals, the little tiny ones, I have ones that are similar like this that I got in the 90s, and you can just see how that influence trickles down and just keeps coming back in cycles. My father used to say, if you hang on to something long enough, it'll be back in style again. I swear to God, his wardrobe has been back in style like 3 times already. Just hang on to it. So you can see all the way over here, there's like, I think there's like 16 bolts. And there's also the Strawberry Thief in an even larger scale in a cream on white. It's a very nice neutral background in the wide back fabric. Yeah. So they have the one neutral wide back that will go with all the other collections that they've been producing. This one is also one of my favorites because it's very, very Art Nouveau, arts and crafts kind of deal. And there is my buddy Corinne. Corinne, I miss your face. Oh my God, how are you? Drop me a line. Tell me how you're doing. Corinne and I used to work together. Swear to God, Corinne, if I had an assistant like you now, I would get so much done in my shop. I need a Corinne in my shop. But this fabric. And there's Heather. Yes, Heather. I'm loving this Wandle so much. Oh my God. So the other thing I got with the Wandle, it fell, is the Among the Stars quilt kit. Now here's what it looks like all done up in a kit. And I got this kit all done for me. Now I'm really happy with this. So this would make a twin size. I didn't have to do the work. It's a gorgeous quilt. The pattern's in here. It's $1.95, and I do have 2 of them. So these would be great indulgence. That would be perfect for like a nice, wouldn't that make a nice wedding present for somebody on your list? Gorgeous, gorgeous quilts. So I've got a couple of those. And I've got them showing on the website. So if you go to the website, there should be a link in the description somewhere. Whatever platform you're watching, there's a link in the description right to our website showing everything we have in Wandle. So you can like virtually pet it. And I know the sample images are accurate in terms of color. They don't really show the scale because as you can see, some of them are smaller prints, some of them are bigger prints, some of them are medium. They work really, really well. And yeah, it's The other thing I got that I'm super happy with is, and now we will do a hard left turn into the modern world where we will slide right into the wonderful world of low volume prints. You can see the ranges of grays and beiges and whites and creams. Um, I'm a fan of scrappy quilts. I'm also a fan of scrappy low volume backgrounds. I know many quilters they'll use like a tone on tone white and they'll use the same one through. And there's a lot of fretting if they have to like find another one to fit in there because they ran out of fabric. But you can do stuff like this and really kick it up a notch. And we also got it in the layer cakes. Layer cakes, low volume layer cakes. So I'm super happy with those too. It's been a really happy couple of days. Either that or I excite way too easily. So, right, I want to show you something else exciting. Remember 2-3 weeks ago, I was at the Keswick Guild. And after I did my bit and everything, they have, with show and tell, they have a thing they call tips and tricks. So if you have a new tip, if you found a new trick to get some quilting done faster, or if you found a new product. And one lady said, I bought this product on Amazon. It was really, really helpful. So everyone else should go get one. And I'm making notes. And while she's talking, a couple of people raised their hands and said, maybe we can ask our local quilt shop owner if it's something that she can get in. And somebody else was like, go look at what she's doing. She's already writing it down and looking it up. Guess what? I found it. I was as shocked as you were that one of my suppliers already had this. This is this little, it's a blade saver thread cutter. So what it is, I know you're like, yeah, I've seen thread cutters before. And the basic premise is you're doing your chain piecing. You need to snip them all apart. I usually use my little embroidery scissors and go snip, 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 snip. But this has a blade in it and you just go. Right, and it's pretty fast. But the nifty part about this is it's fit in here really good. The blade that's inside is the dull rotary cutter blade that you normally throw out. So you can give it a little more use with your threads. And if one side gets a little dull, well, just turn it a little. You've got all these little bits to go through. Little screw so that you can take it apart. And the little stand is it's got little silicone bits on the bottom. It's got the slot there that firmly holds this in a nice little grip. But it also opens up so that when you go to retreat, you've got your thing with the blade that's nice and sharp. You don't want that. You don't want to be reaching for that in your bag when your hands can't see. And now it's in a little carrying case. This is amazing. I'm actually really impressed with this. These guys from Purple Hobbies have invented this and they were 3D printing them. And I think it's about to blow up. So don't go to Amazon to buy these. These are like 28 and change, $28.50. And your gal Andrea will hook you up with one of these. You can chain piece and piece. Ha! Made a joke because I saved my rotary blades in like the little things that they originally come in. You have to wind up saving an empty one, but I have this one. This one says new. This one says old. And then when the old one gets full, I just wrap some tape on it and chuck it out. But now I can give some of my blades a new life because I chain piece a lot, like everything I do. And I'm keeping this hot pink one for me, but should you want one, there is another hot pink one. There is a light pink one. I think I got 2 of every color they had. There's more colors, but these were what they had in stock. A lovely lime green, which is highly visible. A bright yellow. And I missed this one. A bright orange. There were no reds or blues or purples. They were out of those ones. And if I can get my hand on a red or a blue or purple, I know specific people who will buy them. I know, you guys are great. So that was the other super exciting thing. It was just excitement after excitement. And geez, it's almost even 9:30. I'm only halfway through stuff. For the long armors, new pantographs. I know. This one has puppy paw prints. And there's some other cool designs. I think I tried to do this one manually one time. So if you're interested, there's this Christmas tree. I've always wanted to do this Christmas tree. So if you do long army things and snowflakes, because Christmas, the customers are going to be looking for Christmas. So there's a bunch of those. You can come in and look at those. You know, they're in the like 23 to 25 range, I think. So there's that. The other thing that I'm testing is the friction pens that you all know and love, the gel pens. They have come out with markers. So I got myself a set of friction markers. They are erasable. I tried it on a sticky note. There is still, you can still see where I did it on the sticky note. I'm going to test these on fabric and take that hit for you guys and let you know how the ink washes out, if it washes out, if it'll come back in cold, in extreme cold, because the friction gel pens, they do come back if you like stick something in your car trunk in the middle of the Canadian winter. Those marks will come back. So I'm going to test these markers for you so you don't have to. Also, my supplier sent me pens, and one of them's hot pink, and that's making my day. I love it when people do stuff like that. So I got like a hot pink pen. So we did that. Oh, we did that. Not a lot of sewing for me. I did a lot of cleaning this weekend, but I did take some of my spare Halloween fabric and just took a big square rectangle, did a hem on it, put a little tablecloth on our kitchen table so Ron and I can have like a week of spooky Halloween. It's got candy corns on it. Of course we do. A couple of other things back in stock. The mini iron with the little tip. Everyone that I've heard that uses these, love these. Apparently this gets super hot and it's great for doing just your seams and very portable for something like a retreat that some of you might be going on sometime soon. The die catchers are back in stock. I just ran out, so that's just in time. And I had one kind of numbered pins, and I finally ordered the other kind. How much are these numbered pins? Nope, that's the wrong invoice. I got too many invoices kicking around here. There's paper everywhere. So these are the ones exactly like I have in my stash. They're yellow. They got like a little dress form head. $16 a package, these ones, and they've split the numbers so you can just get 1 to 10, which is what I have, and I've used these a lot. Numbered pins, see? Numbered pins. And they're long and super fine. So I use these as row markers. When I finally got a row together, I'll take pin number 1, pin it on the left side, the first block on the left side of row number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4. So that when I put the rows together, I know where I am. And the sticky notes, they would normally fall off, or if you're like pinning them on, but just get a pin with a number on it. And these ones go from 11 and higher. So 1 to 10 and 11 to 20. 11 to 20. You could, Danielle also carries these in her shop, and her suggestion was to go halvesies on a pack with your friend. So you buy one pack, your friend buys the other, and then you swap half of them. So you each have half the amount of each number, but you get all the numbers that way. Yeah, because there is like 100 decorative numbered pins. I think there's 10 of each number. That would make sense, wouldn't it? Huh, it's too early for math. But I found these handy, even for this, like, this is fabric number 1, this is fabric number 2. Once you get them, you'd be like using them all the time. Once I left mine out, I started using them all the time too. So that's that. Phew. Is that everything on my list? I think that's everything on my list. For now. Yeah, so Wandle is in. You got your history lesson. Thread cutters are in. Those other notions are in. Low volume pre-cuts are in. We still don't know about the chocolate person who smudged chocolate on the driver's seat. I guess we'll never know. Yeah. Other than that, Halloween is on Monday. And I've decided if you come shopping on Monday, you can get yourself a little treat bag. Woo, I know. So there's like multiple reasons to come into the shop. One is to pet this fabric, and the other is to swing by on Monday for a treat, trick or treat. Little how Emma and I are gonna do up little treat bags. And I guess that's it. So I shall see you later. Let me know if you find out anything interesting about William Morris after you go reading all about him or the arts and crafts movement. Sliding into Art Nouveau, which is so funny because I was just reading a Twitter thread about the movement that happened after that because it was like everything's too ornate now. And then they got into the blocky Bauhaus movement, but that's another story for another time. Ah, anyway, I will talk to you later. My tea is cold. I definitely need some chocolate. Uh, yeah, I don't know where I'm going with this other than bye. I'll see you later. Thanks for stopping by.